The lefties in The Guardian are at it again. They're suggesting capital gains tax on your primary main home residence. That's an absolute shocker. That's what we're going to be looking at in this episode of Property Breaking News. And as always, I'm joined by my good friend and colleague, Andrew Roberts. Andrew, good to see you.
Hello again, Ranjan. How are you?
I'm good, but I'm furious. What are these lefties on about now?
Well, UK property prices over the last 20 years have gone up £3 trillion. Not billion, trillion pounds. And what they've come up with is the concept that instead of raising income tax and national insurance, which hits the poor working people, even though they have personal allowances, anybody that sells a property, absolutely anybody that sells a property, is going to get whacked with a 28% capital gains tax charge. Now, currently, your principal private residence, your home, is exempt.
And it should be. And by the way, this is not The Guardian. The Guardian are reporting a report by that lefty think tank called the Resolution Foundation. They call themselves a think tank, but I would just drop the word think from their label. But what is it that they're saying, basically?
Well, what they're saying is the taxation system is unfair, and the government could raise £11 billion a year by charging people capital gains tax when they sell their own home or a landlord sells their commercial residential property.
Hang on a minute. I buy my own home. I earn my money. I pay income tax on it. And then I get my profit after tax or my income after tax. And then out of that money, I decide what I want to spend it on. So do I get a brand name trainers or do I get something from George? Do I go out and eat or do I make a tin of beans? And then I make those decisions, I make those sacrifices, and then I may decide to put more of that money into my main home. After it's been taxed, after I've made those sacrifices.
Yeah.
And then if it goes up in value, they want to tax that again. I might as well just go and piss it up the wall rather than save it aside.
Should we go and have a drink?
Have you got the beeper?
Yeah. Should we go and have a drink?
What's going on here?
Well, the idea is it's to reduce the tax burden on the low paid. And yes, we all want to help everybody in this society, and we all want a fair society. But if you're being taxed on your own home, surely that can't be good, because that's going to cause a problem. They call it the property ladder. Typically, you leave university, you buy your first flat, it's a one-bed flat. You get a partner, you might have a two-bed flat. You then decide you're going to have a child, so you might get a two-bed detached terraced house. You then decide more children, so you have to keep selling.
Yes.
So what's going to happen here is people are not going to want to sell their home. So it's going to cause the property market to stagnate, and therefore the Chancellor loses the couple of £1 billion a year he makes on stamp duty.
But where they've tried this, it's also led to a massive issue with quality of life, because people are not trading up their properties with their different stages of life.
Yeah.
They're staying put in the same property because they can't afford to trade up.
Yeah.
And they're living then in overcrowded accommodation because it's not suitable for their new stage of life.
Well, I was on Rightmove at the weekend, and the most popular searched for house on Rightmove, or most popular viewed house on Rightmove, was a £15 million small house, swimming pool, 68 acres, you know. And I can understand not wanting to move, and it's relevant, I'm sure.
It's going to logjam the market. And I think the other thing is that, I don't understand the thing about the low paid aspect, because the low paid pay low taxes because there's a massive threshold and, low bands and all the rest of it. So it's very much a progressive, it's very much a tax system that kind of taxes you a greater percentage the more you earn anyway. Yeah. But there's got to be an aspirational aspect to society.
There has. We all want to get on the property ladder and climb up and have a nice place to live, a place we can call home. Now, what I found interesting with this report was looking at the home itself, and they were saying it's unearned income, it doesn't affect anybody. Well, hang on, you've had to earn the income in the first place to buy this. Yes, you might not have earned the capital appreciation in the property.
They're saying it's unearned, unequal, and untaxed. Well, it has been taxed.
Yeah,
you're
it was
paying
taxed.
it after. You're
Yeah,
investing
you
in
bought
property, buying property after tax. But go on.
Yeah, therefore, what a crackpot think sewer it is, obviously.
We'll get back to the video in just a moment, but what I wanted to really tell you about was what is the most exciting opportunity in property right now, and that is repurposing defunct commercial buildings to residential use. Now, most people don't really know where to start, what to look for, and how to exploit these opportunities, and that's why I've prepared 90 minutes of free training for you to get you started on this wonderful journey. You can register for this free training at property-workshop.com. Join me on that free training, and I'll leave you to enjoy the rest of the video. No, it ain't going to happen. It ain't going to happen. And recently, of course, we all know that there was a review on capital gains tax that Rishi Sunak instigated. Yeah. And very recently, in the last couple of weeks, the government have basically put that on ice. They've said that there's going to be no harmonising or charging income tax rates on property capital gains for second properties. So they've already put that on ice now, which is good news, because that would have had a catastrophic effect on many, many people. Yeah. So to think against that backdrop that they're going to take up these crackpots idea.
Well, I can't understand who can produce a report when the government are making clear their stance on capital gains tax. I mean, it would harm the economy if they did this. Not only would it logjam the housing market, it would harm the house moving and people in society trying to expand their families. People who reach an age a little older than you and I. They might want to downsize or move to a home or something. They're not going to want to sell their house, so you'll have empty houses sat everywhere. It'll be like we've had Russian oligarchs moving into Chelsea again, but in your backyard.
And there are some countries where people, an Englishman's home is his castle, and people take a lot of pride in their own homes and doing them up and make them nice places for them to live and raise their families. And that's something that you want to encourage, because it's a collection of these homes, if you like, and families that makes society. And there are countries where they've gone down these paths with taxation, and you see houses which are unfinished for tax purposes, houses where the exterior doesn't look too smart because they don't want someone to do drive-by valuations and come up with too high a valuation on them. And because it will affect people's behaviour, because people will not want to pay this.
Sounds to me like you're talking about Greece and the German Troika.
I'm talking about lots of things. It's happened all over the place. It's just absolutely ridiculous.
It has. No, Greece was very, very famous for it. If we don't put the roof on, then we don't pay council tax. It's not habitable. Well, hang on. How often does it rain in Greece? Therefore, does it matter if you don't put the roof on the top floor?
Well, it's nice to have a little bit of a rant, but I can safely say, I mean, even though this Conservative government seems to be far left as it's ever been, quite frankly, I still can't see them going down this path.
I would totally agree with you as well. I think this is a completely bonkers idea.
So, bonkers ideas is not something you'll get on this YouTube channel. You'll get proper ideas, so make sure you subscribe and hit the bell icon so you're notified every time we release a new video. That's all for us for this episode of Property Breaking News. Thanks, Andrew, for joining me. Thank you. Join us in the next video. High streets across the land are changing forever. Basically, there's an oversupply of retail premises. Shops are closing down, more are going to close down in the future. The government know this, and that's why they're introducing a light touch planning system which allows small developers to easily repurpose these buildings to residential use under a light touch planning regime called permitted development. Now, this is going to be the biggest revolution and the biggest change and the biggest opportunity for property investors that I've ever seen. And this is all coming into effect on 1st of August. So you need to know what's happening and what properties to look for to take advantage of these opportunities so that you can get in there and take that first mover advantage. I've got a 90-minute free masterclass to get you ready for August the 1st. Make sure you join me, click the link below. Whether you're a beginner or expert, we'll get you started.